Hey friends, Shay here, and we are once again on the move, but I am so excited to talk to you about this particular title that I just couldn't wait to go back home and set up my full setup because I really want to talk to y'all about it. So I've read a brand new manga series. This is one that I've been anticipating ever since I heard about it, and that is The Galaxy Next Door. Now, this mangaka is the same mangaka that did another one of my favorite series, and that is Sweetness and Lightning. I always butcher their pronunciation of their name, so I'm not going to try today, so please forgive me on that. But in A Galaxy Next Door, we're following a young man named Kuga. Kuga's parents have died, and he is left to raise his two younger siblings. He is an adult. He had already sold his first manga, which was a shonen manga, and was doing pretty well. And then when his parents died, things shifted for him. He shifted into working in shoujo manga instead of shonen manga, and he started having almost a boarding house situation where he would constantly have a roommate in the house, usually somebody he knew pretty well because of his younger siblings, to kind of help supplement the income. With that said, the other main character we have, her name is Goshiki, and she is 19, branching out on her own, and she discovered manga about a year ago. And so she's gone full force. She has studied really hard, learned how to draw, and she has now been hired as Kuga's assistant. And due to some circumstances that are related to Goshiki, I don't want to tell you exactly what they are because they are majorly spoilery, but basically something happens that in her culture and the way she was raised means that her and Kuga are now engaged. And it is really interesting. It ties them together in a very unique way. And she ends up moving into the empty room at the boarding house, at their house, as a tenant. And when you see all the imagery, you think very Mary Poppins-esque, but it's very different from that. She is definitely not Mary Poppins. This is a true and solid romance. And it's almost like a marriage of convenience kind of feel, but it's one of those, or fake dating, fake engagement kind of thing, I think is probably a better fit for it, even though it's not exactly fake, but there is an element that would give it that kind of impression, almost like a Fated Mates. It's Fated Mates, fake engagement, kind of meshed up into one. It's really hard to explain without spoiling things. Without spoiling things. I said that right. So yes, this is amazing. I savored this volume. I would read a chapter and I would put it down to think and ponder. And I don't do that with many of my series anymore. I primarily am just a consume and devour kind of person. The last series that I kind of did this with was Sweat and Soap. And this is giving me a lot of those same initial feelings as Sweat and Soap because they are legitimately too pure for this world, especially Goshiki. She is very naive in a lot of ways, and there's a reason for that, and it works. It's not quite like Asako from Sweat and Soap, where she was just insecure because of things from her childhood. This was the way Goshiki was raised, and when you know the spoilery thing that I can't tell you, it makes a lot more sense. I don't know if it's on the back of the volume. I didn't even bother to read it, honestly. I absolutely love and adore this series. I had to pop on, had to turn on my camera, and I had to talk to you guys about it because this is another series that I am not going to shut up about. The art is absolutely stunning. I love the art. It's so expressive, so much blushing. It's so cute. I just can't even with them. They are too cute. And the younger siblings, they're definitely going to be playing a big part in the story. They are very present, but due to the mangaka's previous work that I've read, Sweetness and Lightning, I know that it's going to be important because Tsumugi from that series was very important and integral to the plot. And the fact that who's having to raise his siblings is a big part of the story and a big part of who he is right now and why certain things have happened the way they have. They have some really sweet and kind of almost intimate discussions because of the circumstances that they're in, and it's absolutely beautiful. Like, I can tell already this is going to be a favorite series, a series I'm not going to shut up about, a series that is just so good. Like, just too good for its own good. So with that said, y'all, please pick up this volume, pick up this series. It is one that I legitimately won't ever get enough of. I will read it as long as it is, and I don't care how long it's going to be. I mean, it could be high Q length, and I would read this because it is too perfect. Honestly, I think it's going to be more like somewhere between 10 and 12 volumes long, just due to the history that I have with this mangaka, with Sweetness and Lightning being barely 12. It was basically, the canon story was 12 and the after was 11, and the after stories was kind of a volume on their own, but one of the chapters got carried over. That's kind of how that worked out. So I have a feeling it's going to be a very similar pacing. You'll learn a lot about manga and how it works through it because he works in manga, which is something that sometimes works and sometimes doesn't for me. This one so far is working for me because he's very traditional in how he does it, but it looks like he's going to have to like learn to do digital eventually, and it's amazing. I really, really love it. And yes, like I can babble about this series for a long time, but honestly, like, this first volume has sold me on the entirety of the series. If you are a romance reader, you will love this series. If you are a slice of life manga reader, you will love this series. It is fantastic so far. I'm a huge fan. Like, huge, huge, huge fan. And yes, would 20 out of 10 recommend this series? So with that said, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to get some food and I'm going to go home. So I will edit this and get it up to you guys ASAP, and I'll see you soon. Bye.
Was it all just a dream, just all in my head?